Do you trust Him? Do you really, really trust Him? So, this is Do You Trust Me? Take two. Today, I just have a very short little story I want to share with you and two verses of scripture for encouragement. So, once again, relating the story to a situation with my son that I shared with you earlier. So, once again, he was arrested, and this time it was a larger place and a bigger jail. And of course, devastation sets in anytime something like this happens that you're not expecting. I received a phone call from him, which was really unlikely at the time of the night that I was allowed to receive a phone call from him, and he was hysterical. I mean, he was hysterical. Of course, I'm sure that his body was going through so many changes to dealing with the withdrawal of anything that he had been on at that time, and he just was crying that he had actually been attacked, and I guess it was just horrific and scary. And of course, I sat there. I'll never forget when I received that phone call. There, sitting in my car, how with the anguish and that my heart felt like it didn't exist anymore, and I was in such pain and agony, but yet just such concern for my son. And of course, while I sat there and listened to him, just cry out to me and to be in the situation that he's in, I had to, whether I felt like it or not, muster up the mother words in me, though my heart was breaking, to remind him of where he was and why he was, and this was the choice he had made, and things had happened, and you're just gonna have to get tough, and you're gonna have to stick this out because this is a decision you made. And I wonder sometimes with God, when we cry out to Him and we're in mercy and we want deliverance and we want help and we want freedom, that I wonder sometimes if He doesn't remind us, or if He doesn't think, well, you made these choices, and yet, and painful as it is for Him for us to hurt, there are situations that we put ourselves in that we have to continue through, that we have to go through, that we have to manage. And just because we've made a bad decision, and just because that, it doesn't mean that we should get immediate deliverance. We need to take advantage of these opportunities and embrace them and learn from them what God might have us to learn. So moving on, I did what I know to do best, and instead of having a meltdown, I had a kneel down, and let me encourage you to do that. The next time you feel like you're going to have a meltdown, just kneel down and just give it to Him. I called one of my prayer warrior friends, and I just expressed my heart and concern to her about what was going on, and I said, I want him punished for what he's done, but Lord, I want him protected. So we there, me in the car on my phone, and her house, had prayer, and together we prayed and we believed, and I asked God for His protection. Well, the next day was one of the first days that I was going to get to see him, and I did felt relief that night and at peace, because there was nothing I could do. And I said, God, your hands can reach further than I can. You can reach him where he is. And sometimes God allows us to get into a place to where only that He has access to us. And with these situations, as hard as they are to endure and to go through, I'm thankful for one thing, that through every situation, God has given me the opportunity to realize His faithfulness, and that I can trust Him no matter what. No matter what it feels like on the inside, I have the ability to trust Him, because He didn't have to, but He proved His faith to me time and time again. So anyway, the next morning that I was able to go see my son, and he says, "Mom, you're not going to believe what happened." I love those statements when people say to me, "You're not going to believe what happened. You're just not going to believe what happened." And I said, "What happened?" And so that evening, they had to go through medical, and he was given a TB skin test. And he had had a reaction that no one had ever had before. And so they actually put him in quarantine for 72 hours, which for me meant that there was 72 hours of peace about not being around other prisoners, or giving time to think and time to withdraw and time to heal, just for a moment to recognize where you're at. And I thought to myself, I can't reach him and no one else can, but God was able to deliver my prayer request of just protect him, God, and He did. Well, it turned out that after a physician came in 72 hours later, he did not have TB skin test, but he does have a place on his arm. And I told him that I hope that he never loses that scar, as always a remembrance that God did provide a way. God honored my prayer, and I hope that he could always remember that. And sometimes if we look at our own lives and the bumps and scratches that we had, shouldn't we let them be reminders not of painful times, but of times that God was so faithful in our lives? And I want to share this scripture with you quickly this morning. This is in Psalm written by David, Psalm 16:8. It says, I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. It says, therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth, and my flesh also shall rest in hope. Do you realize that today that you don't have to melt down, you can kneel down no matter what you're going through? First of all, look back at the decisions and the choices that you have made. Maybe it came from not trusting God to begin with, but I tell you today, trust him. He is so faithful. He is just waiting. And remember, when you always see him before you and he is at your right hand, no matter what, you shall not be shaken. You have a very blessed and prosperous day.